Hey everybody, my name is Cordy, and today we're going to be talking about how to use the RC-1 looper station. This video is probably going to be most helpful for acoustic instrumentalists, and hopefully if you're anything like me, a trumpet player, when you kind of walk into these videos, it seems like a lot of guitar players and bass players already kind of have a rundown of how cables and signal paths and that sort of thing work. Sometimes that can feel a little bit overwhelming, and I've definitely been in that position. So I'm hoping that by sharing with you what I've learned, we can go ahead and get all that technical jargon out of the way so we can use this technology to make cool music with the instruments that we love. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and take a deeper dive into how the looper pedal works. All right, so now that we're ready to get into the specifics of this machine, let's talk about the signal order. So, on the right-hand side, we'll see it's labeled inputs over here. We're going to take the cable, which had the XLR connector, and we're taking the 1/4 inch TRS end of that cable, and we're going to plug it into input A. And you'll notice on this device that input A is the middle input jack. Then this end will be plugged into our microphone off camera. The next element is plugging this output into our audio interface. And I know you're wondering, why doesn't A match with A? But just trust me on this one. So take your cable, plug it into output B, and connect that into your audio interface's microphone channel. And as you'll see in the fine print, this output A is actually in control of the power, which is why A does not connect with A, but rather AB. So we'll take our last 1/4 inch jack that we need, and we'll go ahead and plug it into output A, or power. And when it did that, you'll see that it has the check light, and I currently had a loop that was stored on there, which is why that little green thing came up. But if you were turning it on for the very first time, this is all that you would see. Let's talk about the commands that you can use to create music with this station now.
So we're going to hit it once to record. If I hit the pedal once, it will go directly to playback. And an all green LED display for playback. For an optional overdub, we click the pedal again to go into overdub mode to add another layer to the sound. To stop the loop, we press the pedal twice. And to delete the loop, we press and hold the pedal for 2 seconds in order to delete the loop and create a fresh blank slate to create some new sounds.
With the RC-1, you have 3 different modes that you can adjust. There's recording mode, and there's stop mode, and then there's display mode. Well, first things first, you actually need to get it into the mode whereby you can change all of these configurations. And you do that by pressing down on it and then plugging in your power source like that. And that's going to show you what mode that you're in. So in this mode, this is actually the default mode of recording mode. And what it means is that when you press down on the foot switch, you begin recording, you press on it again, you get playback, and you press on it again and you get overdubbing. So if you actually want to change the configuration or the order in which these functions work, double press on it like that, and then now it's in this part of recording mode, and this is the alternative mode. This means that when you press down on the foot switch, it's going to begin recording. You press on it once more and it'll actually overdub first. Then you press on it again and then it'll go into playback. So it just switches the order of the overdubbing and the playback. So if you want to adjust stop mode, what that does is that's just going to change how the pedal stops or pauses looping. So we're going to press on it once like that, and now we're in stop mode. So we're going to change how it stops. In this particular mode where the upper half is lit up like that, that means that when you quickly press on the foot switch twice in a row, it's going to immediately stop looping or recording. So when you double press on the switch again like this, now it's going to put it in this mode. And what this does is that when you stop or pause the recording, it's going to stop the phrase after it has run through or looped once, rather than just stopping it immediately. Now, what about display mode? So in display mode, what this is going to do for you is that in this particular part where the upper half is lit up like that, that's going to make it so that the LEDs, they correspond to the length of the loop. So if you press it twice really quickly, we're going to go into the other part of display mode, and that means that the LEDs won't respond to the length of the loop. Personally, I think it's best to have it so that it does respond to the length of the loop, because then you know how long it is and like when to actually hit the foot switch again. So I think that's the best way to go about it. Personally, I find that the default settings on this loop station are the best, but you do have the option to change them around if you want.
Anywhere. So I recommend that you get a metronome app and try, if you're new to the whole thing, and try to play along to a metronome, because to basically, you know, find this simple tempo.
I stepped on the pedal at the right time, and you get a seamless loop. Now I listen to this, and what does this tell me? It tells me a tempo, but it does not tell me a time signature. In other words, this doesn't mean that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. It can mean that, but could also mean a 1, 2, and 3, 2, 2, and 3, and 3, 2, and 3. You can come up with any time signature based on this. But the key here in developing songs is I want to act like the song already exists. It's out there in the ether somewhere. Can I receive it? What is this telling me?
The looper is a great tool to compose and create your own music, but also it's a great tool to learn. Because, for example, when you play over jam tracks, it's like when you were a kid and you were coloring inside a drawing that was already made. Now with the looper, you are actually making the drawing and coloring it. You have all components, you know, you're making the accompaniment and you are playing over it. And through this process, you learn so much because you're creating a bass line or like a riff for the bass, and you're creating an accompaniment, choosing which notes are going to be part of it. You're creating a rhythm that works, and you're choosing chords. You're trying different chord progressions. I encourage you to investigate it, maybe borrow a looper from a friend and try it for a week and see what you can do with it, because it's so much fun and you learn so much from it.
That's now on the loop. There is an interesting function here where if I hold this for 2 seconds, it will take the last thing I've recorded off. So basically that little tap in there removed the recording that I put on the top.
So I hope that the videos helped you learn how to route your audio using the cables from the microphone to the looper to your audio interface and then ultimately into your DAW, and that you have a greater understanding of the commands of the RC-1, the different modes that you can use, and most importantly, how to be creative with writing melodies and use that to be a wonderful musician. And if you found any of that information to be helpful, please go ahead, like, subscribe, and follow the musicians that made that information available. The only way that we're going to continue to keep this amazing art form going is if we continue to support one another. So I'm going to be listing their credits as well as their names at the end of this video. Alright, thank you, have a good one.